Iceberg aircraft carrier. Had this thing been built, it would have been the largest warship ever. Project Habakkuk, or Habakkuk. It's a huge aircraft carrier made of ice. A way to provide more air cover for North Atlantic convoys in World War II. There were constant shortages of essential materials like steel and aluminium, so why not build a gigantic aircraft carrier out of ice? A frozen, floating, unsinkable airfield that could cruise around the Atlantic. And the specs drawn up for this thing are insane. It needed to be resistant to the largest waves and be torpedo-proof, long enough that 4-engine heavy bombers could take off from it. At 600 meters long, it would have dwarfed even modern supercarriers like the Nimitz or Ford class. Proposed by inventor Jeffrey Pike, who came up with the idea to build a gigantic carrier not just out of ice, but using a mixture of ice and wood pulp, or sawdust. This new frozen composite material, named Pykrete after its inventor, had concrete-level strength and more buoyancy than ice, and it melted much slower. Pike's boss, Lord Mountbatten, was apparently so impressed by Pykrete that he ran into Churchill's house, burst into the bathroom, and threw a chunk into the bath while Churchill was in it, you know, to show that it would float. And from that point, Churchill was on board. I think that probably says a lot about their relationship. A slightly less successful stunt pulled by Mountbatten involved shooting a block of Pykrete in front of a conference of generals and admirals to show how strong it was. Unfortunately, the bullet ricocheted and grazed the leg of US Navy Admiral King. In the end, the practicality of Project Habakkuk was seriously called into question. There were ongoing concerns about how structurally sound a giant iceberg carrier would actually be. There was also the problem of how to steer the thing, i.e. how to build a gigantic rudder for it. Plus, the amount of steel required was estimated as about the same as a normal aircraft carrier, or enough for several smaller escort carriers, which were now being churned out in sufficient numbers to help close that air gap over the mid-Atlantic. So yeah, as awesome as a 2,000-foot-long iceberg aircraft carrier would be, it's kind of hard to justify when you don't strictly need one. Still, pretty cool, right? I'm so sorry. Follow for more.